Hi, everyone. It's Crazy Wintermoon, and welcome back to Virtue's Last Reward. We are in the confusing confuzzlement of sigmas and time jumpings and 45 years of bullshittery, and we want to know one thing.
なんでしょう。
You said that point C is January 27th, 2074, which is today. There's going to be a jump, and I'll jump to April 13th, 2028, 2029.
ええ、言いましたね。
But look, I'm still old. When is this jump supposed to happen?
間もなくです。
Soon?
はい。
And what's going to trigger it?
意識を4次元へと弾き出すためにはポテンシャルが必要です。けれど、それについてはもう十分に溜まっています。ラジカル6の影響によって、あとは意識を打ち出すのみ。スリングショットの弾丸のように。
And how do you propose to do that?
言ったでしょ。危機を与えるのです。死に瀕するような危機を。それによって脳の情報処理速度は限界を超えて加速されます。
What do you mean?
わかりませんか？こういうことですよ。
No. Oh. Dio's knife. No sooner were the words out of my mouth. Fight! I screamed and leapt toward them. Akane was already in motion and the knife diving toward Fai's chest. I was almost there. And then a jump. When I regained consciousness, I was on the floor. There was a dull pain in my chest. I felt for a cut, but something was in the way. It took me a moment to realize that it was Akane's body lying on top of me. I twisted my neck to look around. Nearby was an old tombstone. On it was written a few words in Latin. Cool. What you are, I was. What I am, you will be. And before y'all think this video is like bullshit, it's not over. It's not over. Trust me. All these different timelines, all these endings, all for this one purpose of getting Sigma's 67-year-old consciousness into his 22-year-old body to stop Radical 6 before it breaks out. It's a challenge. So many theories and conspiracies in this too, every time. Ah, Earth. You look so dead. And Luna. Hello. And Phi and Quark. And the facility. And me! Nah, fine. Go kick him in his booty. Ah, and the zeroness. Ugh. Phi! End. New destination's been added to the flowchart. Told you it wasn't over. Well, we got the Phi end, everybody. Time after time. Ta-da! So, who wants to go to our next destination? We've made our jump. We went where she said we'd go. Phi end. She said we'd go. We'd make a jump to April 13th, 2029. So, let's find out. And she got Radical 6. For a moment, I just stared at the TV. The roar of the static seemed to fill the entire room, until with a click it disappeared too. Had the power gone out? No, just a person who turned it off. I heard footsteps behind me and turned around. You. Akane?
どうやら計画の第一段階はうまくいったようですね。
What the fuck? You killed me!
殺した？
I guess technically you're going to kill me 45 years from now, but still.
ちょっとシグマさん、人聞きの悪いことを言わないでください。私は殺してなんかいませんよ。あなたの腹部に当たったのはナイフの柄の方です。
I'm okay.
そうです。あなたとファイさん、お二人に危機感を抱かせるにはアースル以外にいなかったのです。
Me and Phi?
ええ、あの時はシグマさんのことについてのみ言及させていただきましたが、実際にはファイさんにも時間を飛び越えていただく必要があったので。さて、ところでシグマさん、あなたがこれから何をすべきなのかはもう分かっていますね。
We go to the moon?
そうです。出発は明日、2029年4月14日。シグマさんには我々の用意した宇宙船に乗っていただきます。そしてあそこにある3台の治療用ポッドと共にリゾーム9へ。
Alice and Clover, right?
ええ。
What about the third one? Who's in there? Phi?
ファイさんですよ。ファイさんがコールドスリープにかけられたのはつい2日前のことです。彼女は自分の足でここ、私たちの組織のアジトへとやってきて、自らポットの中に入りました。と言っても、それは点 C から飛んできたファイさんのことではありません。点 A から点 D へと至る直前のファイさんだったのです。
Wait, it was the Phi before she jumped from point A to point D?
要するにファイさんもシグマさんと同じようなルートをたどっているということです。 現在進行形で。
And that means that after you froze her, the point C version of her jumped back into her body?
ええ、今はあのポットの中の肉体に収まっていることになります。これから45年間、彼女はあのポットの中で眠り続けるのです。氷漬けになったまま。
Then when she gets to point B, her consciousness will jump to point A, right?
はい。
Huh. So that's why she didn't look old. So why don't you just stick me in one of those pods?
それはできません。
Why not?
どうしてってまだわからないのですか？
No, haven't you figured it out? Sigma's really slow. At least for, you know, the next 45 years he is. And then he becomes really smart. Smart enough to come up with this elaborate scheme.
あなたはこれから45年の歳月をかけて AB 計画の準備をしなければならないのですよ。
And you help.
リゾーム9へ赴き、遺伝子工学やその他の学問を極め、カイルやルナやラゴモルフをあなたは生み出さなければなりません。カラードドアやバングルの仕掛けを作るのももちろんあなたです。天明寺さんとクオーク君を呼び寄せるのもあなたが行います。そして全ての準備が整ってからいよいよ計画は実行されることに。2074年1月25日、あなたは解凍したファイさんの体を抱えて第 3AB ルームへ。そこで点 A から飛んできた22歳の意識に弾かれるようにして45年前の過去、2028年12月25日の肉体へと戻るのです。
And then I change history? Do you really think I can keep the virus from getting out?
そうしていただかなければ困ります。すでにこの世界では何十億もの人間が亡くなっているのですから。人類を救うことができるのはシグマさんとファイさんお二人しかいないのです。
What about you? Aren't you an Esper too?
私一人の力ではどうにもなりません。あなたたちの協力がどうしても必要なのです。
So what do I need to do?
どうすればというのは。
Like, what specific action do I need to take? When Phi and I jump to point A, what are we supposed to do then?
お二人には火星探査用のシミュレーション施設に入っていただきます。
And after that?
わかりません。
What?
ええ、原因が不明なのです。あの施設からなぜラジカル6が漏洩したのか、そもそもどうして火星探査用のシミュレーション施設にウイルスが存在したのかも謎のままで。
Ah, crap. Then we're screwed.
だからこそあなた方の力が必要なのですよ。お二人には歴史や世界を飛び越える不思議な能力があります。それを駆使してぜひとも原因を突き止めていただきたいのです。作戦は困難を極めるでしょう。施設の中には数々の危機が待ち受けているかと思います。それでもお二人ならば必ずやそれらの危機を乗り越えてくれるものと信じています。
Wait. How do you know it's so dangerous?
67歳のシグマさんの意識からそのように伺いました。ウイルスの漏洩を防ぐことのできなかった彼、作戦に失敗した方の未来のあなたということになりますが。
What did I
施
say?
設の中には数々の罠が待ち受けていると。
Oh, shit.
その罠から一人の女性を救うためにあなたはその腕と右目を。
My arms and my right eye? What the hell? Suddenly, a low rumble shook the building. And that's the reactor explosion. What was that?
外をご覧ください。
I moved slowly to the window and peered outside. On the horizon, I could see a massive mushroom cloud climbing slowly toward the sky. Would we really be able to change the course of history? No, that was the wrong way to look at it. It couldn't be a question. I had to change history. We could save the world. I'm going to change history. I stared at the darkened skies above us and steeled myself. I would succeed. End or beginning? Fire and Ice. And that, my friends, is the end. 39 hours. AB room passed after escape. And then you go back to Jumpstart. It's all a giant timeline, this fucking game, ain't it? Oh, lock number 10. Did I get all the archives and whatnot? What's this? Infirmary another time. Like, this is like blank. I guess maybe it's... Hang on. Oh, shit! What is this? What is this? Where? I see you finally woken up, Kyle. Kyle? Kyle? Ah, yes. Of course. You've only just woken up in this timeline. It's only natural for some of your memories to be missing. I lurched upright, jumped off the bed, and ran around to the other side of the partition. The mirror over the sink was covered with a film of dirt. I wiped it off with a sleeve of and my reflection stared back at me. There was no mistake. The reflection belonged to Kyle Klim. So I'm Dr. Klim, Zero Jr.'s clone? What? How do you know that? Shouldn't you still be suffering from amnesia? An excellent question, one I didn't quite know the answer to myself. I knew who Kyle Klim was. In another history, he had been called K and had worn a suit of armor. He hadn't just worn the armor in that history, though. Apparently, he'd worn it all his life. Kyle had been born and raised in this lunar installation, which seemed to be called Rhizome 9. Rather late in his life, Akane had appeared as a mother figure and had consequently grown very attached to her. I knew everything about him, but even though I knew it, I didn't feel it. Was I really Kyle Klim? Every time I looked in the mirror, I saw his face. The spitting image of Sigma Climb in his younger days. I looked down. There was Dio, still handcuffed. I turned back around to Luna. What day is today? January 27th, 2074. Then today is the last day of the AB project. Akane had us explained everything in the garden. Then she drew a knife and attacked Phi. How long have I been asleep? About 5 hours in real time. For them, it would have seemed like a little more than 2 hours. So they still haven't been treated for their Radical 6? No, they've all been given the antiviral. It just takes a while to have an effect. Ah, I see. So the consciousness of the younger Sigma has gone back into the past. It should have happened right after Akane attacked Phi, right? Yes. Why am I here? The doctor carried you back here. You were in the pod in the garden. So the person you call the doctor is Sigma Climb, as inhabited by his age-appropriate consciousness? Yes, but how do you know that? Dio seems to have remained unconscious. Yes. I've been administering Sopril whenever he gets restless. What about the others? They've all gone off to different areas. Tenmyoji and Quark, for instance. Oh, right, Mr. Climb. So the sleepyhead's finally up, huh? What are you two doing here? You don't know where we are? This is the upper floor of the pressure exchange chamber. The real one. Mm-hmm. We were just about to get dressed and head out. You plan to return then? To Earth, I mean? Yeah. Sigma told us where we could find the shuttle that brought us here. Well, I guess he's not really the Sigma I knew anymore. He's Dr. Climb now, or Zero Senior, depending on how you look at it. Why? What do you mean, why? Well, I'm just curious why you would choose to return to a devastated planet when you could stay here. How's staying here gonna help? You aren't gonna say something idiotic about how we should wait here until Sigma changes the past, are you? You can't wait for something that's already happened. Grammar doesn't work that way. Hell, nature doesn't work that way. You following me? We've already lived through history. Sigma failed to keep the virus from getting out. About 45 years ago, Radical 6 created a pandemic, and the antimatter reactors blew up. That all happened. Whatever Sigma does in the past, history's not gonna change. In fact, it's because of what he did or didn't do in the past that we've got this past and present. Let me give you an example. Imagine a group of 100 motorcycles driving down an endless freeway. Eventually, they hit a junction. The road splits in two. One freeway continues off northwest, and the other stretches out to the northeast. So one guy, we'll call him S, pipes up. Let's go northwest, he says. So they take the northwestern road, but about a mile past the intersection, something horrible happens. A semi-truck driving the other way veers into their lane and plows through the bikers. 90 of them die. The surviving 10 are wounded, but survive. They don't stop, though. They keep riding down the highway, and eventually they'd gone 10,000 miles. Then suddenly something happens that they couldn't have predicted. S, who had survived, suddenly had his consciousness thrown back in time. He ends up back in his own body just before they reach the junction. He remembers everything. So what does S do? What anyone would do. Let's go northeast. That means all 100 of the bikers survive to reach their destination, happy and healthy. And they all live happily ever after. That's what you're thinking, right? It's a great outcome for the 100 bikers that went northeast. But what about the 10 that went northwest and survived the accident? Huh? Wouldn't it be 9 people? I mean, S's mind went back in time, right? Ah, right. Okay, 9 people then. What happens to the reality they were living? Does it just disappear when S changes the past? It's not as if it was only bad things that happened during that 10,000-mile trip. Maybe one of them fell in love with a woman working at a gas station they stopped at and had a child. Maybe one of them picked up a homeless kid who joined them on their adventure. That 10,000-mile journey would be full of stories. Friendships, farewells, romances. The loss of those 19 lives is horrible and unfortunate. But what would rewriting their history mean? The 9 who survived lived full lives. How can it be right to just erase all that? Their survivors overcame their own misery and loss and made the best they could of the hand they'd been dealt. Isn't that worth something? Isn't that the best thing that humans can aspire to? Is there really any point to a world where everything is happy? Are people who struggle for a better life just idiots? Being human is about fighting, even when it seems hopeless, and finding happiness even in a world that hates it. Are you saying that's worthless? If you're saying rewriting the past will erase all these other timelines, then whatever God wrote those rules can... look, I'm not gonna accept that, alright? You get it? If Sigma changes the past, then you and Quark will never meet. Is he right? No, it's not gonna happen. We're here right now. This is reality. Even if Sigma does change the past, we're not just gonna disappear or something. Oh. Then that means we get to stay together? Good. Thanks, kid. I understand how you feel. Why you want to return to Earth is clear. You have lived there, I imagine. You have lives there, I imagine. There are likely people waiting for you. Right. Uh-huh. Have you already said goodbye to the others? Phi, Luna, Alice, and Clover all saw us off. We told them we'd see them again someday, and then came here. They were the only people you want to say goodbye to? No point saying anything to Dio. Besides, he's asleep. You were asleep too. Sorry, but we didn't really know much about you. You have a point. Akane was in the armor in this timeline after all. What about Sigma? Well, he's not really Mr. Sigma anymore. Of course. He is Dr. Klein now, that his consciousness has returned. Yeah, but more importantly, he's the guy who brought us all here. Not a lot of warm feelings there, you know. And Akane? Never mind her. She's just like him. Not the Akane I knew. She must have seen some pretty awful things over the years. Hell, she might not even be human anymore. But the Akane Kurashiki I know isn't here. She's not anywhere. In the end, Clover and I were just pawns. Pawns to be used and then gotten rid of. Still, it's not like we're completely resentful. We had to be here to help change the past. That part's easy to understand. But it kinda sucks, though. I mean, Sigma and Phi have it easy. They get to go back to December 25th, 2028. They'll stop the Radical Six and save the world, and then they'll have a nice, normal future to look forward to. In other words, they get to go back to Point E and just enjoy history like it was supposed to happen. But we don't. We're stuck with Point C as our starting point. You told us about Temioji's story, right? The one with the motorcycles? It would be like if Alice and I were kidnapped right before the intersection. And then whoever grabbed us takes us to wherever the bikers are going, 10,000 miles to the northwest. Don't get us wrong, we know what we had to be here. Without us, S's consciousness wouldn't have been able to go back to right before the intersection. If that couldn't happen, then the fate of those 90 dead bikers would be sealed. But it's still not the best situation for those of us left in the Northwest. We're stuck in the reality where the 90 bikers died. Are we just supposed to go live on Earth? It's a wasteland now. And what about our friends and families? We left a whole world behind 45 years ago. Even if it is for the greater good. It just doesn't seem fair, does it? Yeah, it's a little bit much. So we went and talked to the old lady. She told us there is one way. One way we could get back to the past. Let's say you do go back to the past. Wouldn't that cause your minds to get thrown back here? That seemed to be how Sigma and Phi's jumps worked, at least. Yes, you're right. But this is different. Different? How so? From what she said, it sounds like there's a way we can send our bodies back in time, too. That's ridiculous. It would create a paradox. How could you have 2 Clovers and 2 Alices at the same time? But that wouldn't happen. Akane says there's a way around that. How on earth does she plan to do that? Schrodinger's cat. Oh, hey Kyle. Figured you'd come here eventually. Where's Dr. Klein? Luna said you were with him. He said he was tired, so he's off resting right now. There's a bedroom at the end of the hallway. He's in there if you're curious. Oh, right. He told me to turn on his hologram projector thing when you showed up. Want me to start it? Sure. Glad to see you. There isn't anything in particular that I have to tell you. However, I imagine there are a great number of things weighing on your mind. I'd love to answer all of your questions, but unfortunately my circumstances make that an impossibility. I hope you can forgive me. Everything I know, Phi should also know. I've instructed her to answer any questions anyone might have. Anyone other than Kyle, that is. What does he mean, other than Kyle? Who knows? Is there anything you want to ask? Right, well, I guess I might as well cut to the chase. Just who are you, Phi? I'm not Superman, that's for sure. And I'm not Batman, or Spider-Man, or Aquaman, or a Merman, or a Wolfman. I'm not a Brahmin, or a Kamen, or a Ramen. I'm not a Skyman either, so you don't really need to worry about anything. Please don't dodge the question. About 5 hours ago, Akane attacked you with a knife. That triggered something, which sent your mind back to the past, correct? Specifically, you were sent to Point D, April 13th, 2029. On that date, your body was already in Akane's custody. Although by then, you were in cold sleep. You wouldn't have regained consciousness, but your mind was now inhabiting that body. That pod was your home for 45 years. You slept there, frozen, until the time was right. Then, on January 25th, 2074, you were finally thawed out. Even though you didn't wake up. Still unconscious, you were carried to the AB room. That was when your consciousness changed bodies again. A version of you from December 25th, 2028 arrived, pushing you out. And sending you back to December 25th, 2028. This is when you finally woke up. In 2028, you found and joined forces with Sigma, whose older mind was inhabiting his younger body. Together, you attempted to infiltrate the Mars mission test facility. Unfortunately, your plan failed. The Radical Six did escape on New Year's Eve. That failure determined the path you followed. Instead of going along the line that branches out to the right from point E, you headed straight to point D. Point D being April 13th of the following year. That was the day you made your way to Akane's hideout and asked to be put into one of the treatment pods. Another consciousness enters your body around that time from the future. It is, of course, the version of you that left your body when Akane attacked you in the garden. This caused the two versions of you to swap places, and you moved 45 years into the future where you woke up on the garden floor. That put you on the line that comes here. So if we discount the time you spent in cold sleep, for you, only 3.5 months have passed since that happened. That being when you were sent back into the past from the garden. Have I missed anything? No, everything you talked about you got right. What do you mean by that? I'm kind of an unknown variable in this equation. You could think of me as a kind of X factor. It's taken me the last 3.5 months to understand it, and I haven't understood anything in the last 3.5 seconds. Could you please explain? It's kind of like the relationship between classical mechanics and modern physics. Strictly speaking, you can combine velocities with v1 plus v2. v1 plus v2 divided by 1 plus v1 times v2 divided by c to the second power is the actual equation. Of course, the sort of velocities we encounter in day-to-day life don't come close to being c to the second power, which is the speed of light squared. I could just say squared, couldn't I? That means that 1 plus v1 times v2 divided by c squared is usually going to evaluate to something pretty close to 1. Since that would mean dividing by 1, it's usually okay to just skip that step and use v1 plus v2. You see what I'm saying? In most situations it works, even if it isn't technically correct. So you knew enough to get the stuff you were talking about right. As long as you stick to that, you won't run into any problems. I don't quite understand. In fact, I feel like you're dodging my questions. So was that what you wanted to ask about? No. What I really want to know is what happened between Christmas and New Year's Eve in 2028. You and Sigma infiltrated the Mars mission test site, didn't you? Yes. What happened there? How did Sigma lose his eye and both his arms? And why was Radical 6 in there in the first place? What could a deadly virus have to do with a simulated mission to space? Sorry, but I can't tell you that. Why? Because it would change history. There is a history where the virus didn't escape. That's the line that goes to the right of point E. In that timeline, humanity isn't heading for annihilation and Earth isn't red. The future is much brighter. But if I tell you what you're asking me right now, then that reality will disappear. You understand? I don't. Why would all of that disappear if you told me what I want to know? You're about to go back to the past, right? The past? Don't be silly. I can't do that. Then where the hell did you learn all this stuff? I just listened to you tell me a bunch of things you shouldn't have known about. You were sleeping in the pod in the garden. You just woke up. So how can you know all this? You know my past, Sigma's past. I shall give you your answer. You are not Kyle Klein. Your body is Kyle's, but your consciousness is not. Think about it. Do you really believe you are Kyle? Or could you be someone else entirely? Then, where is the real Kyle's consciousness? He was thrown out when you entered. Right now, in a manner of speaking, he has arrived at December 25th, 2028. His consciousness has gone into a body from that time. I doubt you know how much the doctor loves Kyle. He raised him on his own. Kyle is irreplaceable. Do you really think he would go back to the past and leave Kyle behind here? I know what I told the others. That Kyle was Dr. Clem's spare. But that was not his only purpose. Kyle's consciousness is integral to what we are trying to accomplish. This new mission begins on Christmas and ends on New Year's Eve, 2028. Its purpose will be to infiltrate the test facility and prevent the spread of the virus. For this to happen, Kyle is absolutely necessary. And that is why he created him? Yes. So now that my consciousness has entered his body, the doctor has achieved his objective. Kyle has gone back to 2028 to participate in his mission. Correct. There's one thing that troubles me. Kyle was created before reaching point B from point D. That means his body did not exist on Christmas 2028. Does that mean he has entered my body? Have we just switched places? I suppose you could put it that way, yes. That's ridiculous. What's going to happen to me? Are you telling me that I have to spend the rest of my life here in this box, living in a borrowed body? No, not at all. You can travel freely through time and space. You are an uncontrolled variable that entered our closed system. As such, the rules of this world do not apply to you. I have no idea what you... Please don't try and play dumb. I know what you are. Surely you must know by now, too. You are about to go into the past and save the world. Phi and Sigma, even with all this future knowledge, will need your help. Only you can right the horrible wrongs of our past. Only you can save the world. There's no way Yes, there is. You have to. Don't you want to know the truth? Don't you want to know what happened in between Christmas and New Year's Eve in 2028? Well, yes, I do, but then you must believe. Reality is shaped by what we believe reality should be. If observation can change the motion of a particle, then how is it odd to think that a human thought can shape reality? Your will can change history. The world will be reshaped into the one you imagine. Remember what I've told you. Only you can change history. Only you can save the world. Alternate end. You found it a certain point of view. Huh. Okay, that was interesting. Didn't expect that end. Huh. Another time end. Okay. Wasn't expecting that one. Well, guys, oh wait, there's one thing I have to do. I completely forgot. Hang on. Yes, I want to resume from there. Is it gonna make me go through the intro again? Yes. secrets. I said I was gonna read all these secrets that I didn't read. Alright. Golem. The golem is an anthropomorphic creature from Jewish folklore. Golems are made from clay and will obey any orders given to them by their creators without question, although they tend to make instructions very literal. Take instructions very literally. A golem is created by performing a holy ritual, then kneading the clay into a shape of a person, chanting a spell, and writing the Hebrew word emet, truth, on the golem's forehead. Erasing the E changes the word to met, which is Hebrew for death. Doing this deactivates the golem. Cool. Golem. One of the golems found in the Nonary game facility. He is discovered lying on the maintenance table in the golem bay. His product ID is GTM-CM-GOLM. He has to be referred to as by the last bit, which is, of course, golem. Much to his surprise, this ends up being pronounced like golem anyway. On a side note, GTM-CM-GOLM stands for Golem Type Male Cockney Model Number GOLM. Chinese Room. The Chinese Room is a thought experiment developed by American philosopher John Searle to contest some of the ideas about artificial intelligence. The experiment itself is explained in more depth in the game, but the general idea behind it is to pose the question, do intelligent responses indicate actual understanding? Searle contests that a computer could be programmed to respond intelligently to a conversation with humans, so much so that it would seem to be human itself, but that would not necessarily, or perhaps could not actually understand what it was saying. Of course, that raises the question, how can we know that human minds are not, in essence, Chinese rooms? Can we really say that we understand the things we say, or are we just simulating understanding? Turing test. The Turing test is designed to gauge a computer's ability to exhibit intellectual behavior. The first developed by British mathematician Alan Turing. The test has 3 participants, a human judge, a human subject, and a machine. The judge engages in conversation with the human and the machine. If the judge cannot determine who is the machine and who is the human, the machine is considered to have passed the Turing test. When Fi mentions that perhaps she and her companions have been captured to perform a test, she is referring to the Turing test. Supplementary AB rules. Yeah, okay. Golem, an acronym for General Purpose Autonomous Labor Electronic Machine. Golems are robots developed and sold by an American corporation called Hephaestus Systems. Some of the units in this facility, however, have had their software significantly enhanced by Zero Senior. A portion of them have also been given ABT, created by Zero Senior. Incidentally, ABT is short for Artificial Biological Tissue. Golem's story, the point. The gist of Golem's somewhat rambling explanation is that the center of thought doesn't necessarily have to reside in the body. In the case of Golem, the self clearly resided in the mainframe and operated the body remotely. Since a self-aware robot could exist this way, he theorized what could prevent humans from doing the same. If humans are actually being controlled by an outside force, then is there actually any such thing as free will? Oof. AB Game 1. This refers to the Ambidex game. It's fair to assume that AB is short for Ambidex, but it also represents the 2 choices each player is given, A and B. A is the choice to ally, B is the choice to betray. When using the voting machine in the AB room, each player must choose to either ally or betray before the time limit is up. AB Game 2. A round of the AB game is played between the members of the group that went through the previous chromatic door together. The 2 members of the pair play against the single solo. Each player can choose to either cooperate or betray. The BP of each player will change depending on on that choice. If you choose to ally and your opponent chooses to ally, you get plus 2 BP. If you choose to ally and your opponent chooses to betray, you get minus 2 BP. If you choose to betray and your opponent chooses to ally, you get plus 3 BP. If you choose to betray and your opponent chooses to betray, you get 0 BP. Penalty. If you break the rules or if your BP falls below 0, you will be penalized. More specifically, a set of needles in your bracelet will be activated, injecting you with 2 different drugs. The first is the anesthetics called Sopril Beta. 9 minutes later, this will be followed by a muscle relaxant called tubocurarine. The muscle relaxant will cause your lungs to cease functioning, killing you. In other words, the penalty for failure is death. Voting machine. A machine used by participants of the AB game to register their votes. It uses a touchpad and is not to be mistaken for an ATM. Fantastic. Hazmat suit. The manual found in the PEC contains the following text in reference to these suits. The air in the facility is kept at a very high pressure relative to the outside environment. This is to prevent air contamination from the virus from entering. All persons wishing to exit the facility must proceed through the pressure exchange chamber. In order to prevent the spread of the virus and retain a sterile environment, all persons entering the PEC must wear a specialized hazmat suit. Anyone not wearing a suit will not be allowed to enter the PEC. Scotch. A type of whiskey made in Scotland. Its unique aroma comes from the peat used at its manufacture. Scotch is Tenmyoji's favorite drink. He often claims a little scotch should scratch this itch after returning from work, which annoys Quark. Root beer float. A well-known drink made by putting a scoop of vanilla ice cream in some root beer, also known as a black cow. Quark has taken to saying root beer floats my boat, which warms Tenmyoji's heart. Alright, the prisoner's dilemma. Apple and Bananas committed a serious crime and were arrested. Since they were accomplices, the police separated them for questioning, which kept them from communicating. A detective visits each criminal and tells them the following. If neither of you spills the beans, you both get 2 years. If he clams up and you confess, you'll get 1 year and he'll do 15. If you keep quiet and he gives it up, you'll do 15 while he does 1. So I bet you're thinking, what if we both rat the other guy out? Pretty simple, pal. You both get 10 years. This is the prisoner's dilemma. Do you betray your partner or stay silent? In the AB game, however, sometimes the most rational choice isn't always the best one. Atomic bomb, or antimatter bomb. I don't know why I read that as atomic. Whatever. This bomb uses the energy generated by the collision of particles and antiparticles. How does this work? Phi explains. Imagine 2 types of matter that are exactly opposite, like male and female. When they're combined, what happens? According to quantum theory, their numbers add together to make 0, like 1 and -1, and they kind of disappear because they cancel each other out. They call that annihilation, except when they collide, they create something like a baby, except the baby is sort of pure energy and a lot of it. So in other words, an antimatter bomb makes an exploding baby. Does that make sense? Detonator. This is the device that will detonate an antimatter bomb. Technically, it's called a remote trigger detonation signal device, but that takes a really long time to type out, so we'll just use detonator. This particular device has 2 modes for operation: immediate and delay. Pressing the switch when you're less than a meter away from the bomb will trigger the immediate mode, and the bombs will detonate immediately. If you're more than a meter away from the bomb, however, pressing the switch will activate the delay mode, and the bombs will explode 30 minutes later. Cybernetic arm. A device usually created to weaponize genetically engineered psychic bears. Just kidding, it's actually an arm augment for online sex chat. Not really. In truth, it's the arm from a mysterious libido-powered robot. I'm just messing with you. A cybernetic arm is actually a mechanical limb that you can control with your mind. Really. I'm not screwing with you this time. It has titanium alloy for bones, and those are covered with ABT, or artificial biological tissue. The ABT even has artificial nerves, so you can feel pain through it, just like a real arm. It has veins that connect to the rest of your arm, so you can inject medicine into the cybernetic arm. It'll flow into the rest of your body. Luna's necklace. The necklace Luna is never seen without has a cage containing a blue bird hanging from it. If you twist the key at the bottom, it plays music. Someone special gave it to her as a gift, and she says it reminds her of the following lesson. Search for happiness whenever you can, because the search itself is what makes you happy. 3 Laws of Robotics. The 3 Laws of Robotics were created by science fiction author Isaac Asimov and play a large part in his robot series. They are as follows. 1. A robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. 2. A robot must obey the orders given to it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. 3. A robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second laws. Later on, Asimov also developed another preceding rule known as the Zeroth Law, which first appeared in his story Robots and Empire. The Zeroth Law of Robotics. 0. A robot may not harm humanity or by inaction allow humanity to come to harm. Clearly, the Zeroth rule has priority over the first 3, so the first law would have the unwritten addendum, except where this would conflict with the Zeroth law. Whether or not 016 was aware of this law is unclear, but in any event, 016 did act in accordance with it. Floor B graffiti. Memento Mori of the 9th Lion, 8th Sun. It appears to have been written in some sort of weird paint. Memento Mori is a Latin phrase which translates roughly to remember death/mortality. 9th clearly refers to ninth, but seems to have been spelled wrong, likely on purpose. Why? Perhaps it's an anagram like the words on the wall in the Floor A warehouse. If it is, what does this one mean? Hourglass. The hourglass displayed in the background is actually... Didn't I have a way of just showing the background? I could have sworn I did. No. Guess not. It is actually a 4-second timer. It doesn't have much practical use except maybe for really impatient people. If you were at a restaurant waiting for your food to come out, for instance. Hey, how long are you going to make me wait? I've already flipped this hourglass 100 times. Technically, 100 times would only be 400 seconds. It was 6 minutes and 40 seconds, but saying 100 times is much more dramatic and therefore much more likely to get a desired reaction from the waitstaff. Gentle points. These are the measure of how much a gentleman you are. Somewhere deep in the United Kingdom is an organization that tracks all gentlemen, determining their caliber based off an ancient and Byzantine collection of rules and guidelines. Every year during the spring, a representative of this organization conducts a cursory investigation of each member's behavior, or at least appears to, and then awards gentle points based on what they saw. The following formula is used. Old ladies escorted across the street times toffets owned times puzzles solved times money given to gentleman tracking organization equals total gentle points. Knife. A small survival knife. It has Myrmidon stamped on into the side of the blade. Blade length 150 millimeters. Base width 30 millimeters. Base thickness 3 millimeters. There's blood on it, but whose blood? Floor B hallway locks. Several of the hallways on Floor B use special locks indicated on the map. On the far side of each arrow is a lever, and pulling these levers will unlock the locks. Once this has been done, you can explore the entire area at your leisure. Principle of causality. The law of cause and effect, specifically that a cause must precede every effect. At the quantum level, however, things aren't quite as immutable. The principle of quantum superposition holds that any physical system such as an electron exists at least partially in all of its theoretical states or configurations, but when measured gives a result corresponding to only one of them. A classic example of this is The double slit experiment, where light appears to behave as both a wave and a particle. One of the interesting implications of this is that, in a sense, you are influencing the past by observing a system. You are defining the cause of an effect you witness, and in a way, altering the past. Normally, you would comment here that the quantum level is where shit gets real, but given the nature of this phenomenon, it seems like it would be more accurate to say that the quantum level is where shit gets unreal. Knox's Ten Commandments. Ronald Knox, a mysterious writer from the UK, published the following as his rules for writing a mysterious novel. 1. The criminal must be mentioned early on. 2. All supernatural or preternatural agencies are ruled out. 3. No more than one secret room or passage. 4. No hitherto undiscovered poisons may be used, nor any appliance which will need a long scientific explanation. 5. No one with extrasensory perception or similar powers can appear. 6. No accident must ever help the detective, nor must he have an unaccountable intuition which proves to be right. 7. The detective must not commit the crimes. 8. The detective must declare any clues he may discover. 9. The stupid friend of the detective, the Watson, must conceal nothing from the reader. 10. Twin brothers and doubles generally will not appear unannounced. Fantastic. Sun/moon/star keys. 3 different types of key cards, generally found in the safes in each room, used to open the AB gate. Without them, you can't open the AB gate to play the AB room, or to play the AB game, which means you can't gain BP. In other words, getting one of these cards is the first step to your escape. The sun key is used during the first round, the moon key for the second, the star key for the third. Slingshot. An elementary device that uses rubber to launch a small projectile, frequently used by adolescent ne'er-do-wells. Can be used as a necklace, but this is not recommended. Test site mystery. The site in question was for a simulated manor mission to Mars held in the Nevada desert on New Year's Eve 2028. The audio logs from the simulation contain a woman's voice assumed to be one of the test subjects saying the following: 6 of us are dead. Counting myself, there are only 3 left. I guess you could say I killed them. No, that's not quite right. Not just them. Not just these 6. All of them. All 6 billion. Most evidence seems to suggest that this was the beginning of the Radical 6 outbreak, and that the Nevada facility was the epicenter of the pandemic. Termite. A general term used to refer to the insects in the family of Termitoidae, of the cockroach called Blattoidae. That's right, even though there's something called white ants, termites aren't even in the same family as ants. They're in the cockroach family instead. Also, king crabs are in the hermit crab order, and the remora is in the Perciformis order. Have a nice blank 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 3. Word 03 says before he leaves, here are a few variations. Have a nice trouble, have a nice tragedy, have a nice trust. Conjunction. A term used in positive positional astronomy. Put simply, it means that 2 celestial bodies appear near one another in the sky. When used in the context of our solar system, it often refers to a position where given the celestial body is aligned with the sun. For example, when Mars is on the opposite side of the sun from the Earth, it is considered to be in conjunction with Earth. I know. Mercury and Venus, which orbit closer to the sun than Earth does, have 2 types of conjunction. When they are hidden on the other side of the sun, this is referred to as superior conjunction. When they are lined up on the near side of the sun, this is called inferior conjunction. Tenmyoji's picture. This is the photograph that Tenmyoji was holding. The subject is a girl named Akane Kurashiki. Akane was one of the people who appeared in the game's sister title, 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors, as a childhood friend of of Junpei, the title's main character. In 999, she was 21 years old. This picture was taken 9 years before then, when she was 12. Look at the left side of the picture. If you look closely, it almost looks like there's a man grinning in the background. Do you see him? Don't worry if it seems a little strange. A spirit medium has told us that the person in this picture is a guardian spirit who shows up looking for her, after her. He must have shown up here because he'd heard what sort of destiny she had in store and decided to see how she was doing. Minkowski space? A way of describing reality that adds a fourth dimension of time to the 3 dimensions of space. It was described by German mathematician Hermann Minkowski and therefore bears his name. It also has the name of a ski resort for miniature cows. Lagomorph, the scientific name for the order to which rabbits belong, and 03's actual name. What was this? Tenmyoji and Alice? When they were split up by the red, blue, and green chromatic doors, Tenmyoji told Alice there was something he had to tell her. That something was, of course, his identity, and that he'd already known about Alice and Ice Nine, and was not because he heard about it from Clover. Tenmyoji and Clover. After the second round of the AB game, after going through the purple and green doors, Clover as a solo was heard to say the following to Tenmyoji, her opponent. What the heck did you mean by all that? It's not fair. If you're telling the truth, then I... So what had Tenmyoji said to her? The same thing he'd meant to say to Alice, of course. He told her who he was. That simple fact shook Clover's resolve and made her vote ally. It probably hadn't been his original intention to betray her, but after thinking about Quark's safety, he probably felt he had no choice and picked betray. AB Project. A can stand for after, and A can stand for after and B for before, but they can also stand for anima and body. Everything that happens in this facility was part of the AB Project. The mystery of Phi. So who was Phi? There are some clues scattered throughout the story, but nothing conclusive. Perhaps the truth will be revealed in the Nevada test site. Deactivation passwords. Here's a little something more about the bomb deactivation passwords. Those passwords, they aren't just gibberish. There's something hidden in each one. I can give you one hint. +1. Good luck. There's a lot more to the story, but I think you'll stop the secret archives here. Thank you for playing. We hope you enjoyed the game. Well, that's it, guys. That is everything this game has to offer. And I can close the book on this game. Well, as that one thing said about that the mystery of Phi, yeah, it is revealed in the Nevada desert. And we're going to be playing that, because that is Zero Time Dilemma. That is going to be the next one in this series, and I'm going to do it too. That one I've only played once, and I beat it, of course, you know, I beat every little pathway, whatever, but I played it once. I'm not going to remember how to do it. I'm not going to remember any of the endings or how to get anything. So, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video. Ta-ta!